Yo, what is up, you guys? It's your boy Big Dog 121, and today we're back again with another Gotham Knights video. This time, IGN brought us a video on how the skill tree works. So, yeah, let's jump right into it and let's see what it's all about.
Gotham Knights has an unexpected philosophy at its heart. While it might be a game about 4 superheroes trying to fill the void left by a murdered Batman, the developers don't want you to feel like you're creating 4 successors. They want you to find a favourite and turn them into a single, new Dark Knight.
We always understood that there had to be a sense by the end of the story and by the end of your kind of investment in the hero that you have in some way transcended the obvious potential of this character in order to be.
I don't know if you guys are noticing, but the costumes are on point. I'm loving it. Like, look at this costume. Look at it. Like, the costumes are on point. If nothing is good in this game, the costumes are going to be fantastic.
Become a symbol. This is someone who I believe can fill the vacuum Batman has left behind. So that's such an essential aspect.
Do y'all really think Batman is gone? Comment down below.
To the fantasy that we felt like there needed to be a moment where that was reflected in the ability tree, where it was reflected in the...
Okay, wait, all right. So our first look at the skills. So obviously this is probably our start menu. So it shows our map, case files, challenges, gear, abilities, database, email, skills, and momentum abilities. It looks like your typical, I guess, skill tree. Looks like you probably have to level up. Yeah, looks like you have to gain experience and level up. And you get, looks like, action points, I assume. And with each action point, obviously, it's either 1 or 2 or 3, depending on the level. It looks like there's a knighthood challenge or something like that. They will probably get into that later on, but looks like your typical skill tree, cost, level up,
kind of RPG foundations of the game.
With that overall philosophy in mind, a game mechanic that has you constantly changing and experimenting with new techniques feels apt. Gotham Knights offers a lot of options in that regard.
All right, I like this. This looks sweet. I'm loving this costume too. But look at this, the suit power, melee power, and range power. And they all have different levels, separate levels for each. All right, so you probably can make your character like super OP. There's also a level 30 character, so it looks like they're still training their skills because they have 28 action points, unless they give us extra action points like per level, I guess.
From new superhero suits to ability-changing gear, but it doesn't make that idea clearer than in its skill trees.
The main abilities that you see on the ability tree are abilities that you unlock after you've earned ability points, and that's something that's a natural function of leveling up in the sort of standard RPG.
Okay, so yeah, that's what we just said.
You get some ability points, and there's dependencies and prerequisites like you would normally see in an action RPG, but that is the gating mechanism for those abilities. You're spending points, you're deciding where you want to spend them.
Of course, with 4 different heroes, you're likely to want to experiment, and the game accounts for that without feeling like you're leaving anyone behind while not playing with them.
Obviously, we're a multi-protagonist game, and we expect that a lot of players are going to kind of identify fairly quickly that, okay, I like this hero, this character matches my style of play, I'm invested in their progression and in their evolution, I want to play that character for a long time. That said, there's 3 other heroes that you may decide at some point it would be interesting for you to try, and that you want to be able to jump into playing without.
Wait. I'm gonna go back.
That said, there is a.
Look at the way he was dodging that. I like that.
You may decide at some point it would be interesting for you to try, and that you want to be able to jump into playing without feeling.
So probably. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with like the Batman games, which you probably are if you're watching this video. But so usually whenever like villains and stuff are about to shoot, they usually have like the little animation on top of their head. So it looks like with this, you probably have to time it, because all it's showing is the red dot or white dot in this case.
It would be interesting for you to try, and that you want to be able to jump into playing without feeling like you're being penalized or need to go back and redo a whole bunch of work in order to kind of get them advanced. So then what happens is, if you decide to switch characters, basically you now have a kind of surplus of ability points that you can go into the menu and spend. You'll sit there, you'll allocate them, you can look at the whole ability tree, you can decide what you want to have access to.
The skill
I like that. So that, again, that explains why we had like 20 something action points on a level 30 character, just because you can go throughout, level up a character. Then if you want to play another one, then you can just hop onto that one and have excess points.
skill trees themselves are made up of a mix of ability or stat changing upgrades, but the paths they take you down are purposely varied, allowing you to build different versions of the same hero. Batgirl can specialize in one-on-one melee combat, but she can also focus on hacking abilities or survivability. Nightwing can build on his acrobatics, but can also offer massive buffs for co-op play. Robin can improve on his preternatural talents for stealth, but he could equally work on tech that helps provide decoys or enhance elemental effects. And in this footage, we're showing off all of Red Hood's trees in their totality.
So the marksman tree is kind of self-explanatory. It's really about dealing more damage at range. That skill tree focuses mostly on...
All right. So I think I'm most excited for Red Hood, but from the previous gameplays and everything else that I've seen, I don't like the fact that he just shoots with his guns the entire time. So I'm hoping in this video that they explain like there's I guess him just fighting with his hands and guns instead of just shooting the entire time. So I hope they explain that, because I really want Red Hood to be good.
On damage per second, and rewards for shooting, and rewards for taking the time to use precision aim. The brawler skill tree is about melee combat, but more importantly, it's about powering up the fact that Red Hood is our largest character, and he's got the best grab and throw mechanics in Gotham Knights. That's a really, sort of brutal hand-to-hand focused skill tree. So if you're into that style of play, it's a great place to invest early to get the most out of Red Hood. The Vengeance tree is essentially reflecting Red Hood's rage in different ways. He can be an intimidating character. It's sort of about leveraging parts of his personality and embodying them as abilities that allows him to be more frightening and to deal more damage against certain types of enemies that he is truly angry inside about.
Now you may have...
Okay, so I do like that. I really do like that. I like the fact that they kind of base these abilities off of, I guess, their character, which obviously you would think, yeah, why wouldn't they? But I know in previous games or other games, some character abilities just didn't match. It didn't really matter so long as you were able to button mash. But I do like the fact that like their abilities are based off of their attributes and their skills. So they said that that Red Hood is like, he's one of the bigger characters in this. So his grip ability and grapple ability is probably going to be a lot better than, for say, Nightwing, I would say.
I've noticed that there's a fourth tree on that list, Knighthood. Perhaps the most interesting of all the ability options, Knighthood is available for every character and represents a moment of self-actualization where your hero has worked out how they can become their own Dark Knight, rather than just a new Batman. Knighthood.
Okay, so the Knighthood is essentially like each character's own special skills. I love it. I think that's a great idea. I think that's gonna definitely separate everyone or every single character from the other.
Hood will begin to unlock after a specific point in the story, but every character will have to complete a set of unique challenges to begin earning the abilities inside.
It gives you a couple of things. It unlocks the heroic traversal for that hero. So if you're Batgirl, suddenly you can glide. It unlocks your ultimate ability for Batgirl, that's the drone. And it unlocks the Knighthood ability tree, where you can start to add additional, very powerful mechanics to your hero that are otherwise not available to you until that point in the story.
Once you've unlocked Knighthood for one character, you don't need to go and do the story beat again for the other heroes in order to gain access to that progression, but you'll need to go out and do the challenges for that hero that are associated with these additional abilities.
Okay, I like that. They don't just
interesting combination.
They don't just give it to you. They make you do the challenges, but they don't make you play through the story again. I like that.
Of narrative and mechanic, a way of using traditional RPG ideas to help tell the story of Gotham Knights' budding heroes.
So literally, there is a moment where it's possible for you to kind of have this epiphany with your character, right? It can be the moment that Robin suddenly, he's like staring at the Batman shrine in the Belfry, and he's like looking at the gauntlet, thinking about the technology and how Batman used it, because he's like the most recent member of that team, and Robin's thinking to himself, wait a minute, Batman wasn't just what was in the Batcave or just what he had on his person. It was also his relationship and his connection to the bigger universe of these superheroes, right? The Justice League satellite. So that's kind of the moment where he goes, wait, I can tap into that. I can absolutely tap into that. And if I use it this way, it's going to open up a set of abilities and some ways of fighting crime. And so that
I think Robin is also going to be a really cool character. I think the first character that I'm probably going to try is probably Red Hood, and then probably Nightwing, and then Robin. And Batgirl may be the last one, but I feel like Batgirl and Nightwing are probably going to be pretty similar.
That first moment is what opens up his heroic traversal. It's where he goes, I can do short-range teleportation. So, these are the kinds of sort of thematic links that we've tried to create with the Knighthood branch.
That's pretty cool.
All of these skill trees is another menu of unlockables, momentum abilities. These amount to special attacks that can be assigned to specific button combos. Many of the momentum abilities tie into the skill trees, but they're earned differently.
In the case of the momentum abilities, you're getting those by engaging in challenges in the world. When you look at the momentum ability breakdown, in order to unlock that, I need to do the following 4 or 5 things.
The most amount of...
All right, so that's cool. I like that. I like the fact that they're adding like things you have to do in order to unlock these abilities. I think that's cool. I think that really gives everything like a unique feel. It makes you want to keep playing, makes you want to continue doing those challenges. And I feel like probably some of these skills are probably going to be the harder challenges, and not many people are probably going to have it. Me being me, I'm going to try to get every single challenge done so I can get all the powers. But hey, that's just me.
Synergy between abilities in different trees actually happens between the momentum abilities tab and the rest of the trees. For example, Batgirl's Beatdown is a momentum ability, but can be powered up by other abilities in her tree that allow her to do it more effectively and with piercing damage, which the ability doesn't usually have at the start.
The developers' goals with all of these trees isn't just to tack on RPG mechanics to an action game, but to provide a legitimate sense that your heroes are growing, learning, and changing throughout the course of Gotham Knight's story. As a player, you're being asked to help create your own versions of those heroes, and the team doesn't want you to simply be able to fill out an entire skill tree on your first playthrough, encouraging you instead to pick and choose carefully.
If you're playing through Gotham Knights in a regular way, so I'm going after all of the main story arcs and I'm fighting the villain arcs, I will have unlocked most but not all of the skill tree. So your choices are always going to matter at least as far as what it takes for you to beat the story. I think players will and probably should mix and match to get the best out of the abilities in Gotham Knights. We know that players will choose ability clusters as we've arranged them in the trees because they are excited about it.
Wait. Do we have 2 Red Hoods fighting at the same time?
The clusters as we've arranged.
All right, so I think this is the first time like outside. Well, no, I think this is the first time that you can see like 2 of the same characters fighting. So I assume you could probably have the same characters as your co-op or whoever you're playing with, or this might just be a challenge. I don't know, but I assume you can probably have the same character. Which, I mean, hey, that doesn't limit you whenever you play with other people, which that's pretty cool. And they probably have entirely different builds.
They are excited about an individual ability, but there is a lot of synergy between trees, and also you kind of have to experiment to find out what you really like. So I do expect that players will mix and match quite a lot.
If you want to know more about Gotham Knights, we have got tons for you in this month's IGN First campaign, including the first 16 minutes of gameplay and how Gotham was built as a brand new city with 400 years of history.
All right, guys. Well, yeah, that video has me excited. I'm definitely excited with I guess it's just the different skill trees. I'm definitely more excited for Red Hood, even though he may not have a variation of fighting with his hands and everything else. I'm excited just for the fact that it's not simply just shoot him the entire time. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Comment down below who is the first character that you're gonna play and why. And I hope you guys enjoy the video, and peace.